Beautiful, great weather, maybe not today, but I think it's a very good course area for the American Cup. Very flat water, good temperature, and for sure it's better than in Brittany in the winter. we plan to train with Dean on the next 10 days after the race here. Yeah, interesting for us because we have a lot of work to do to improve individually ourselves and come back at a good level.
We didn't have our best day in the final day in Gothenburg. We made a number of mistakes across the board, so yeah, we went away and had a look at that, see what we can do better, and I guess that's a good thing for us. We're a new team. There's plenty of scope for improvement, and that's what we're working so hard on. No, I had a number of great events here. The first time I came here was in 1995 at the Youth World Championship. Fantastic experience, and then a number of times with the Bermuda Gold Cup, which has been great. We love that event. So I love being here in Bermuda. Fantastic venue, great people. Very excited to be here.
And as I understand, you won that Youth World Championships in lasers. You've also won back-to-back Gold Cups. So we see a little bit of a pattern for you here in Bermuda, perhaps?
Well, it's always been fun racing here. Good results. And just love being here. It's a great island.
Yeah, well, we haven't really we haven't sailed together really as a full team since Gothenburg, so yeah, we haven't really had too much of a chance to change things. But it's yeah, we're actually feeling like we're still on the verge of being able to sort of string some good results together. Like all the guys do, we just spend a lot of time sort of debriefing and looking at all the areas we can improve, and certainly there's a number of those for us. But we're really excited to be racing here in what is our new home, and yesterday was fantastic to get out there and have the boats and some beautiful conditions. So fingers crossed this weekend we'll be able to get some good sailing.
Because the saying, it's better to be lucky than good, and we've been very fortunate. We've had a couple of really nice regattas, and I guess like Dean and possibly Frank too, we haven't done a lot of sailing. Our last race together as a group was the last race in Gothenburg. So yesterday's training session for us on the Great Sound was fantastic. The conditions were perfect, and we certainly utilised yesterday's conditions to the full advantage time-wise to practice our manoeuvres and try and sail the boat around the course as best we can. So I'm really thoroughly looking forward to the event here, and any one of these teams can, as we've seen, can win races and win the event. So looking forward to the racing.
No, we've had a couple of shockers in the last few events. I think we've been sailing well, but just haven't been able to string it together. And on the way over here this morning from Somerset, I came over with Peter Bromby, who's a local. We went up the channel very slowly, looked at all the shallow water marks, made sure I know exactly how close the reefs, because it sounds like we're going to finish up here. So the last thing we need is another disaster, and we're sort of covering our bases. I think we have the potential, but we've just got to get these big errors out of our game. And Portsmouth and Gothenburg, we had some big errors, and if we can avoid them this week, I think we'll be in much better shape. We've been putting a lot of pressure on ourselves to perform. Everyone wants to get on the podium, everyone wants to get the points leading into the Louis Vuitton series. And I think the more pressure you put on yourself, the more errors that come into it. And we've spent a lot of time, really looking at how we can relieve pressure off the sailors, off the team, and just go out there and have a bit of fun and go racing. At the end of the day, the more relaxed you are into the racing, I think the better you'll perform. So we've had a big push from within our team, not just the sailors, but all the support staff and all the shore crew. And the less work we can make for them, the better it's going to be. So keeping the boat in one piece is a big start to that. And we've kicked a lot of own goals, and we're just trying to avoid that this weekend.
Bermuda's been so welcoming to the team, to the America's Cup, and trust me, we'd love nothing better to reward them with a great result here. I know every single guy sitting next to me has the same plan. Next 2 days look a little bit ordinary-wise, but Sunday looks like it could be great. So fingers crossed, and hopefully we get some great racing out there.
Where we're
Racing is a lot closer to downtown, and the fact we'll probably be finishing in here, so not really. To be honest, we've been out utilising the entire Great Sound. We're kind of tucked in more towards Spanish Point there and the passage, so not a lot of time has been spent there. But the fact is that even if we had spent a lot of time here, the level of the teams here is completely open. And, you know, I mean, Glenn said that any one of these teams can win now. There's no excuses. Everyone's got the same gear. We've all weighed in this morning. We all weigh the same, and it'll come down to the best team.
That's something that's probably a benefit to the defender as opposed to the challenging teams.
I'd actually say it's a benefit to the challenger. Because they get to check in at the start, they get to see the defender, and so it really works both ways. And the other important point is that if the defender in the Challenger Series, if the defender can beat the other challengers, they can start the America's Cup 1-0 up. If one of the challengers, or if Ben's lucky enough to make it through the America's Cup, and he beats us in the Challenger Series, he gets to start 1-0 ahead. So that's the key thing with all this racing. There's always something on the line, which makes it more compelling. And yeah, I think whether it's the defender or the challenger, man, that's something worth fighting for, a 1-0 head start.
Well, I think one of the guys said, you know, the team, the level of all the teams, the resources and things that they have to understand the area, it's, you know, I think everyone will figure the venue out over time. You know, it's obviously getting familiar with the conditions, knowing what to expect is a big part of it. And a place like here would seem as, you know, particularly in June, you know, we'll be here for the Challenger Series in the Cup. It's, you know, it is quite varied conditions. What it does pose is sort of a very interesting challenge for all the teams, because it's not going to be a one-dimensional event. You're going to have to be prepared for a lot of different conditions, and there'll be probably some design trade-offs that have to be made along the way so that you can perform well with whatever you get. So I think it's going to actually create quite an interesting event. It's not going to be one-dimensional at all. I think there'll be time when certain teams will have an advantage over others, and it's a little bit being able to sort of cover off the different areas. So, you know, I think this is going to be a real test, you know, for you know, and whoever comes through at the Vuitton Challenger Series is going to they're going to be a very strong team. You sort of look back at some of the events, you know, San Francisco, obviously it was the question of how windy it was going to be other than one day, and Valencia before that, you know, that was sort of, you sort of knew pretty much most of the time what it was going to be during the Cup period. Auckland was, you know, that could be anything. So, you know, to me, I think this is going to be a really interesting concept, because these boats particularly, you know, they give them sort of 10 or 12 knots, and then, you know, the boats will all fall and you know, do all the good stuff. It's when you get the conditions below that, it's going to be it's going to make it quite an interesting concept, you know, how to best sort of cover off all the areas.
Yeah, we're fortunate enough to get our two-boat testing program going. You know, prototype boats for, you know, I guess the ultimate boat we will race, and that's been fantastic. I mean, our shore team, engineering, boat building have really been under the gun, and they've pulled it off. And it was amazing to be able to two boats in the Sound, just to really see what it could be like out there. It is quite a change going to the World Series boat. I mean, you go from this really sophisticated, you know, full of hydraulics, instrumentation, to basically no instrumentation on the World Series boat, and it's just a lot of hard work. So physically, it's you know, it's right up there with the boat we'll ultimately race, but it's like going back to basics in a certain way. You lose a lot of the systems, and it's really back to the best team, which is great. You know, it's a level playing field, and it really will come down to, because of that, it'll create a lot of passing and I think a lot of different race winners, but ultimately it will create great racing. I mean, we approach every single World Series to win, and I don't think that's any different for these guys sitting next to me. But yeah, you know, I mean, Bermuda has just been so open and welcoming for the entire team. Very, very hospitable, friendly people, and so we love to reward them with a great result. But we know that these 5 guys here want to spoil that fantasy, and so they will do everything they can, and that's great. You know, that's exactly what we want on the water. We want a real fight, we want great racing, and we'll be doing everything we can. But hey, this is sport, and the best team will win, and the results will do the talking. You know,
Obviously, Jimmy and Russell Oracle brought the America's Cup to Bermuda, so I think they certainly have some rights to claim to be the home team. As a British team, we obviously, I think, built some links with the British history and what have you. So I don't know, maybe over the next 18 months we might be able to have a little fight for who can count themselves as the home team or not. But at the end of the day, it's just fantastic to be here and really to see so many of the islanders supporting the event and supporting everyone being here.
Over the beaches from now on.